Trying not to. Okay, I'm back up. So we're going to try to make sure it stays up. So with it being Healing Tuesday, we always tackle different topics that are centered around healing our fatherless journey. And tonight we're going to talk about healing the negative emotions of the fatherless. Now, how do we do that? What does that look like? I want to get into a lot of that before we even move forward. When you log on tonight, I want you to share it on your page. I want you to share and let somebody know that we're on, because a lot of times you guys share after the fact and people are inboxing me like, why didn't I know about this? Look at Linda. She's like, I'm not going to miss it tonight. Last week she was running a little late. But share it on Facebook, letting people know that we're on and that we're live. Periscope. You know, I know you can share it, but I don't know how you do that. I guess you retweet it. That's what you do. Thank you. See, I got to remember my tweeting, my Twitter tools. Tonight, I want to really get into the fact that so often when we grow up fatherless, we tend to have issues with our emotions. So I'm going to go for my note card because there's a lot of stuff that I want to cover, and I want to cover it within an hour. After we start getting past 10 o'clock, it gets really weird. So I know people got to jump off and get into bed and all that, and I do too. So I wrote down here that when you grow up without a biological father, you lack the ability to have positive emotions and behavior where you display it because you didn't get the pat on the back. You didn't have someone hug you when you needed to be hugged all the time. And this is one that's really hard for me, and I want to kind of harp on it a little bit. Even giving words of encouragement. So the reason we have trouble giving words of encouragement, but how many of you have a lot of trouble receiving words of encouragement? Maybe that's not a fatherless thing, but I think that tends to be a fatherless thing. I've watched it quite often in some of the circles that I teach in and I'm, speaking in. It's really hard for us to receive encouragement and positive affirmations. If that is you, okay, see people raising their hand. If that's you, put a 1 in the box. If you have a really hard time receiving words of encouragement and positive affirmation, I want you to put a 1 in the box. I know that that's a lot of us. Because I know it's me. I'm gonna tell on myself tonight. See, I even got my "You Don't Know My Story" t-shirt on. This is my girlfriend Lorraine, Tawana's Lorraine, her t-shirt, and I was like, oh, that's perfect for me. You don't know my story. Y'all think y'all know, but you don't know. And so because we didn't get those hugs or the pat on the back at the right time or those words of encouragement, we have a very hard time dealing with emotions in a positive way. Many of us have learned to mask and hide our emotions since our own fathers were either not there to show us or the ones who were present showed little or no emotion. So if you are the person who you mask your emotions, put a 1 in the box. If you're the person who hides your emotions, put a 2 in the box. There's no way around this. I'm not even going to give you a 3 for, you're just so open about it. That's a different night. But I know some of us have walked through healing. I get it. But I want those who have an issue with, if you got an issue with hiding and masking emotions. So masking is 1, hiding is 2. And unfortunately, that has to do with the fact that you didn't have someone modeling that for you. If you grew up in a single parent home, mom's emotions, I don't know if moms have time to teach that. I remember my mother, when we were talking about her getting to know us individually, she had time to get to know us individually. You know why? Because she was working, making sure we were provided for. We had the things that we needed. So that's something I believe is truly important. Hey, Nydia, she said, I'm here. We're talking about emotions tonight. So let's look at, what does masking your emotions look like to you? If you could put it in, just type it out for me. And someone who may hide your emotions, what does hiding your emotions look like to you? What's masking and what does hiding? If somebody could give me their example of what that looks like. Just want to take a moment to kind of see where people are. And, you know, I wasn't sure what I was going to talk about tonight until probably about 8:40. I wasn't sure. One of the reasons I'm a little late sometimes getting on here is because I jump off of a call, our marriage coaching call, to get onto this call. And if that call goes over a little bit and then my computer is dealing with its issues, it takes me a little bit. But the reason I thought about emotions, I was walking the dog. In our marriage coaching, we are reading emotional intelligence, and we took the assessment. And it made me think about the challenges that fatherless children have when it comes to their emotions because they're underdeveloped. They lack a lot of things that they need because they weren't provided those things. Look, just survival was what we had to come out of this whole situation with. And that's not a bad thing for some, but for others who then go on to do different things and want to get married and have a different kind of life, guess what? You've got to then develop those things, which means you're behind. Does anybody have an example of masking emotions? I'm a hold out until somebody says something. I'm gonna try, look, see. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna type it out, the definition for you here. I'm gonna say it and then I'm gonna type it out because I have it right here. So what you do when you mask your emotions, you replace it with another emotion, right? You conceal one emotion and replace it with another. That's masking. How many of you do that? If you do that, I'm telling you, I want to see some numbers in here. You guys know this is participation. I don't want to have a conversation with a screen, especially when I know you guys are on here and you like to participate. It's not the same. No, I wish it was the same, but it's not. So masking, you're going to hide, or I'm sorry, masking, you're going to replace it. Hiding, you're not even sharing it at all. You're not letting anybody in. You're not letting anybody know what it is you're feeling. And that's a good question, Nydia, because I think people probably do think it's the same thing, but it's not. They're similar, but they're not the same, if you know what I mean. So instead of concealing it, you literally don't even share it. You just shut down. You suppress it. You don't let anybody know. So Nydia is saying she masks. She replaces it. And one of the things I learned in looking this up earlier is introverts are really, really good at hiding their emotions. So if you are a masker, put 1 in the box. If you're a hider, you'll let nobody know how you're feeling at all. Feelings is not even a part of your conversation, right? Nydia, that's where that is. Put a 2 in the box. Because the truth of the matter is we all do it some way, shape, or form, or we've all done it some way, shape, or form. And some of us, you can put a 1 and a 2 in the box because maybe it depends on the situation as to whether or not you're hiding or you're masking or you're hiding. I want to keep them in order. Yeah, very true, Nydia. Our facial expressions give us away a lot of times. If you don't know how to control all of this, you're like, what's your face saying? What you trying to say? Where that come from? And you give yourself away. And I read body language, I read faces, I read tone, I read in fluctuation of tones, I read all of that because it all means something. And if you're making a face, that's the first thing I'm gonna point out. So dealing with the fact that you didn't have a father who provided those emotions or that emotional development that you needed, you've got some work to do. You've got a lot of work to do. And one of the things I have written down here is what many of us do, which is called I'm adding another one, because we're masking, which is concealing an emotion, and replacing it with another, which is similar to what I'm about to say. And then we just talked about also not only masking, but then hiding, just shutting down. I have no emotions. I have no feelings. What we do is we suppress our emotions, which in turn causes a lot more problems later on in life, which means you got a lot of work, because you 30, you trying to date, you trying to get into relationships, and you don't even know how to deal with your own feelings. And because you don't know how to deal with your own feelings, you can't develop the relationship. And what I really paid attention to someone that I was coaching yesterday, she was being rebellious. And one of the ways that she dealt with being rebellious in her home with her husband is she not only suppressed her emotions, but then she replaced them with an addictive behavior. So how many of you have something that you're addicted to? And it's almost like your whoopee, and you've utilized it in order to help you cope with a negative emotion that you feel. We're going to get a little bit into that tonight, because I want to know how many of you have some of these things. I see hearts going on when I say something, so I get it. Some of you are like, I ain't gonna put no one in the box, but I'm gonna throw some hearts up there. I'm fine with that. What you do is you will suppress and then replace, and you haven't figured out a positive way or let me say it this way. You haven't figured out a positive way to deal with the emotions that you're having. And that's what I want to get in tonight. Healing comes after you learn how to deal with them. Healing comes as you progress to develop your emotions and recognize them. You've got to be able to release the negative emotions that are in your life. And I can tell you, look, I think I've told you guys about a couple of books that we've read. But this is one that I think is helping me understand some things about myself. I won't lie to you. I scored higher probably than most, but I need you to understand that's from a lot of work. That's from a lot of work. That's not because I'm super genius or I'm amazing. Some people would disagree with that, but I'm just telling you, that's from a lot of work. And when you put in the work, you will score high on the assessment. But I don't want you to feel bad if you don't score high on the assessment to start out with. The book is helping you grow these things and heal. Sometimes I know we want healing to be automatic. We want healing to be like at church. You know, they lay hands on you and you're supposed to stand up and you heal. Well, that's not what healing is. Sometimes healing is growing. Sometimes healing is you got to take some steps and walk that thing out. And in order to do that, you got to be able to recognize where you're wrong. But that's a whole nother part of what I'm going to talk about tonight. So if you don't suppress, allowing yourself to feel and experience emotions in a positive way, then you can grow. But if you don't, what you do is you find yourself in situations and circumstances like when you want to be in a relationship, you only are superficial. It's a very shallow relationship because you struggle with building relationships. Because if I got to build this relationship and do it properly, guess what I have to do? I got to share emotions. I've got to not only share emotions, how many of you in your suppression of emotions, you're not just suppressing it to other people, you're suppressing it within yourself. So you haven't felt an emotion and you don't know how long. You've got to feel and experience that emotion. When I'm coaching clients, you learn very quickly that they may feel an experience over here, but then they have a set of things over here that they're not feeling and experiencing because it's triggering them. And I want to talk a little bit about triggers as well. Here, I got a couple more paragraphs. I'm jumping the gun on some of my stuff. But if you are triggered, your trigger will cause you to respond in a way that's not healthy. It'll cause you to respond in a way that is not even productive to building a relationship. And it'll show you that you are not developed in the way that you think that you, I'm sorry, I saw some comments and got distracted. That you will find yourself in a place where your emotions, you just find yourself, you shut down. And if you took the time to feel, I'm gonna tell you, you may be upset. It may be hurtful. It may be traumatic and disappointing in many ways, right? But I tell people all the time, especially that I'm coaching, because eventually it's going to come up through coaching, right? I want to find my purpose. You can't find your purpose until you go back to your pain. You have to deal with pain in order to find purpose. And a lot of people, they refuse to do it, and that's why they're operating outside their purpose. So Brian says, I do this a lot. Went to mediation yesterday and it went terribly. Linda tried to console me. I pushed away. Today has been a struggle to get through. You know, Brian, that's natural, right? So I don't want you to push her away. And if you do, let me say this, even if you do push her away, don't push the feelings away. I need you to go isolate yourself and be able to feel and experience the emotions. You don't want to do that because it's like it hurts too badly. But if you experience it and feel it, it won't pop up on you later. Because that's the worst thing. Why do you guys think it's called a midlife crisis? What is the crisis? You know what the crisis is your childhood. Your childhood has showed up and you 50. And that's why when you think about people having a midlife crisis, what do? They do the most irresponsible, the most immature thing, and it's an instinct. It's sporadic. I'm gonna buy a car that makes me look young or feel young again. Why are you trying to feel young again? Why? Because you missed out on something? I don't know what that is, but a lot of it, the bottom is falling out, and so now you have to replace the pain and the hurt that you have. Nydia, you just said it. I overshare emotions. That's what fatherless daughters do. That's called the fatherless daughter syndrome. So you want to feel loved. You want to be worthy and feel worthy. You want somebody to value you. And so guess what you do? You overshare. And you not only overshare, you overshare with the wrong people. Hey, Becca. Hey, Brian. You overshare with the wrong people. And then that in turn gets you the response that you didn't want. That in turn gets you rejected and abandoned because they weren't prepared to hear all of that. They were not prepared. And you know why they weren't prepared? Because you didn't even know them well enough to share all of that. And so in sharing all of those emotions, you then become once again triggered. So let's look at this really quickly. If you experience emotions, many fatherless children only experience them on a surface level. So that's leading back into what Brian said. I want you to allow the emotions to go as deep as they need to go. That's journaling and writing it out. That's going to therapy if you need to go to therapy. That's giving your spouse or your friend a hug in the midst of it. That's crying. Too many people believe it's you ain't a man if you cry. I cried all last week. I'm gonna just be honest with y'all. I cried every day last week. It was very hard for me to get on here tonight because I got some things going on that it doesn't feel well. But what I'm not gonna do is suppress those feelings that I have. I'm not gonna do it. So now what emotional intelligence is teaching me based off my assessment is I have to be conscious about, do I do something about it? Do I say something about it? Do I not say anything about it? Do I not do anything about it? I need to be more flexible. I need to count to 10. There's these different things that it's teaching me to do in order to respond in a positive way. And not just to a person, but can we go here? Sometimes we respond a negative way to negative emotions that inflict pain, self-sabotage, hurt, whatever it is upon ourselves. That's a real thing. So you may not be committing suicide, but as one young lady got on here one night, she told us she was a cutter. But she cuts with a knife. But do you cut with your words in your mind? Do you have negative self-talk? Do you have head trash that keeps you in a cycle and keeps the negative emotions spinning in your mind? You have to cut that out. And the way you do it is you replace it, but you don't replace it with addictive behavior. You don't replace it by masking, I'm angry and I'm pissed off, but I'm gonna act happy. No, that's not what you do. You experience the emotion and then you replace it with the truth of what you're feeling. And then you say, okay, that happened to me one time. That happened to me that time. this is what I'm going to do in response to that the next time. I'm going to get into some of the ways that you deal with these emotions. The other one that I want to talk about that we don't necessarily think of it as an emotion, but too many of us as fatherless children are walking around angry. Walking around angry. Angry boys and angry girls turn into raging men and raging women. It is what it is. So I used to be an angry little girl walking around fighting and doing all that. That wasn't me. But some women are and have been. Angry little girls. Now you grow up and you talk all reckless, very reckless to the men around you. Or you talk reckless to people in general. In this day and age, we call it telling it like it is, keeping it 100. But as soon as somebody keep it 100 with you, you're emotional, you sad, your feelings hurt. How many of you can say that you were hypersensitive or have you ever been hypersensitive? Hi, my name is Dr. Tori J, and I used to be hypersensitive. There's an awesome prayer in a book called Prayers That Availeth Much. And it's about being hypersensitive. And I used to pray this prayer every day for over a year. And I can tell you that from praying that prayer, I remember while I was praying it, God sent me a best friend. And in sending me this best friend, whoo, talk about angry, and she just hard, right? God will send someone to harden you a little bit, give you the backbone and the stuff that you need. And then in the process, you're giving them the things that they need. My best friend was so hard, she wouldn't hold your hand. She ain't have no sympathy. Major Pain is her favorite movie. And that line where he talks about where sympathy is, oh, that's her favorite line, or at least one of them. She ain't got no sympathy for you. And our relationship hardened me up and softened her up. And I remember it was around the time that I was praying that prayer. So that's another book. It's a book called Prayers That Availeth Much. And in that book, there is a prayer about being hypersensitive. Yes, I'm so hard on myself. See, and this is the other part about negative emotions. All of them, you don't throw them on other people. A lot of time, you inflict it upon yourself. Even Nydia, she said, I call it emotional cutter. Wow. That's powerful because a lot of us do it. Have you seen that? There's a picture on Facebook and it's got this hand, and it's got all these negative words, and it's around your throat. See, when you do those kind of things to yourself, when you talk negative to yourself, you are harming yourself. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Lies. Hit me with a stick first. Hit me with a stone first. Because names last longer. Names, when you call yourself names, when you say things about yourself, up here, it's projected into the world and the world can see it. Oh, I'm about to, y'all always get me to share something super personal. And I'll be like, oh, I don't want to share that. But it's coming up for a reason. So this is like a real personal moment. So I remember, I would go out with my girlfriends when I was single. And we wouldn't go to clubs. That was way younger. That was college. But being in Atlanta, you go out to certain places, cute little bars, things like that, or restaurants, lounges that are restaurants, that kind of thing. And I would be in there, and all my girlfriends, I know I'm cute. I'm driving the ride. I'm cute. And nobody would talk to me. And I'm like, why are you talking to me? I'm cute tonight. And all my girlfriends are getting all the stuff and all the guys. And I'm like, what is going on? And I remember standing there one day and I asked, I listened to myself. See, this is a part of experiencing the moment, experiencing the feeling. Cannot believe I'm about to share this, but I am. So while I'm standing there and I'm listening to myself, you know what I was saying to myself? I was emotionally cutting, Nydia. I was saying to myself, you're ugly. You're ugly. That's why ain't nobody talking to you. And you're projecting that, so that's why nobody was talking to you. It wasn't that you weren't cute on the outside, but you were thinking that you were ugly. It's that face that Nydia was talking about too. You wear it on your face. So even when you think you're unattractive, but you're cute, I'm cute. I just, I don't know why I was thinking, and let me be clear, I had on makeup to the nines that night. Outfit was banging. Everything was right. But for some reason, I was thinking that I was not. My husband, I just saw what you said. Yes, my best friend is from Detroit. And not only is she from Detroit, and yes, she is so cold in the D. Y'all go Google. My husband has always got his jokes on here. Go Google or go to YouTube and just type in "It's So Cold in the D." It is the worst song ever written. I don't know how he found it, but it is. But not only is my best friend from Detroit, she's from Highland Park, and Highland Park has a reputation. So, yeah, look, she said, "Hi, my name is Nydia, and I'm hypersensitive." Nydia, get that book. Look, you can pray it through, and you will find yourself in a different place. Becca says, "I don't have a poker face." Look, many of us don't. Many of us don't. I was even when I was having that moment, clearly I didn't have a poker face. And then afterwards, and I got myself together, guess what? People were talking to me. It's amazing to me how we can have a thought, and that thought then resonates from us, and then other people pick up on it. You have to be able to be honest with yourself. Yeah. Oh no, the book, the prayer book, Prayers That Availeth Much, is the one that has the prayer for hypersensitivity. It's by her last name is Copeland, but I don't think it's not Gloria Copeland. It's not Kenneth Copeland's wife. It's another Copeland. But that book transformed me in many ways the year that I had it. But yes, the things that we portray and we put out there from our minds out into the atmosphere, these negative emotions, these things that we think about ourselves, they are detrimental to us. So let's be clear. And I think it's a really good thought and something to always keep in the forefront. We don't only hide and suppress, and I'm just kind of summarizing. We don't only mask and suppress or mask and hide emotions from others. We do it from ourselves. We not only inflict negative emotions upon other people, we tend more than not inflict those things upon ourselves. And a lot of people are chiming in saying, "That's me. I've done that. I'm an emotional cutter. I'm someone who has a lot of head trash, and I think negative things about myself." I don't know how y'all get me to share stuff that's only in my journal, but I just shared one of those moments that I had where I literally was standing there thinking how ugly I was, and I can't believe I did that. But let's even go back to the angry place. There is nothing wrong with being angry and having an emotion around anger. And even when I think about the Bible says, "Be angry, but sin not." So don't let someone, like with the mother thing, talk you into, "Oh, being angry is a sin and it's a wrong thing." No, anger is an emotion that you have for a reason. Anger is an emotion that you need to find out how you can wrangle it in and truly display it in a proper manner. So you have to understand when to restrain your anger and how appropriately to show your anger. So when you're angry, you don't want to walk around angry and raging all the time. You want to know one of two things. When do I restrain my anger? And then how do I appropriately show my anger when I'm upset? And those who are struggling with anger, you need to understand the range of emotions that you have. Maybe people think that you're angry, but you have other emotions that you're experiencing. And then making sure, these are two things that I want you to pay attention to when not only dealing with anger, but dealing with your emotions. I'm going to type this in. When dealing with your emotions, I want you to begin to understand the range of emotions. And I want you to be able to do that because emotions, there's way more than anger, right? And then there's levels to anger. Become aware. Pay attention to it. Don't just say, "Oh, I'm angry." Don't just get caught up in that, like in stuck in that moment and just kind of shut it down. you need to understand the range of emotions. And then the other thing that I want you to look at is linking your emotions to experiences, because that's why you're being triggered. When dealing with your emotions, I want you, I'm typing this out so you guys can come back to it, to begin to link emotions to experiences. You know, people think you upset about one thing or you going off about one thing, but you're really going off about something else. You know, like they don't know what you're going off about because it had nothing to do with them. Unfortunately for them, though, they triggered you and they didn't know they triggered you. They don't know your triggers. So let's begin to link emotions to experiences. Because when you do that, it allows you and it forces you to feel things that you wouldn't normally feel. It forces you to put yourself in a place where you have to sit still and listen. Oh, well, Nydia, we hope you heal very quickly, ma'am. Did you have rotator cuff surgery? Or you just had it was just shoulder? So let's learn to manage our emotions. One article said, the way you can manage emotions is increase the expression of positive emotions. So how do you increase the expression of positive emotions? A lot of that has to, rotator cuff. I got you. My mother had that surgery twice on both shoulders, like one on each shoulder. So I know that's painful. Just keep squeezing that ball. Yeah, keep squeezing that ball so you can get better. But you've got to learn to manage your emotions by increasing the expression of positive emotions. So for those of us who have so much negative emotions, so much negative head trash, so much stuff that we've been told, you're not going to amount to this, you ain't that. And so then you're responding to all these different things that's been said about you. Oh, everybody's saying feel better. That's so sweet of you guys. My husband said no baseball. You silly. When you are dealing with this, I need you to go into cognitive behavior. One of the things I'm going to do for you by tomorrow, I will put some cognitive behavioral tools that you can utilize, and I'll make it a PDF. I think I can do a PDF, and you can download it and you can write on it and do all those things that you want to do and print it out and write on it, or just leave it on your computer and type on it. Different cognitive behavior tools to use to help you get from this negative headspace and this negative emotion or emotions that you have in order. I'm sorry, I want to make sure this is either off. Oh, it turned off. Okay. Let's squeeze it. Hold on, you guys. I'm sorry. I got a lot of contraptions going on tonight because I'm trying to make sure I'm obedient to doing what I'm supposed to do. Okay, so it turned off. But I'll put that in on TFGF's page so that you can have some tools to utilize to help you overcome the challenges that you have with these negative things in your mind. Oh, Lord, she got to do the other shoulder like my mother. You going to do it 6 months later, Nydia? Whew. Yeah, my mother, at least it was a couple years. She tried her best not to have to do it at all, but her previous employment made her have to do it. Find or continue a previous hobby. See, Brian, you jumping the gun. Something you enjoy doing. This will help with taking the stress off of your shoulder. Okay, so he's talking about Nydia's shoulders as well. When you're increasing your expression of positive emotions, it's a hobby. It's working out. It's relieving the stress. It's something that you can do to relieve the tension. Another thing that comes up is you need to go ahead and examine your spiritual life. You got to implement ways to connect spiritually with yourself. Like plug in, sit still. Is that meditation? Is that praying? Is that reading your Bible? Is that reading a self-help book? But you got to take care of you. The bottom line is Negative emotions are able to fester because you don't take care of you. Another thing it talked about was that when I was looking this up is taking deep breaths. When I was doing the I've Got Daddy Issues tour, breathing exercises was one of the things that I would do at the different events because I could sense in the room when that needed to be applied. And so when it needed to be applied, I would definitely put it out there. Let me see. This thing is showing me I got comments, but I can't see you guys. So please bear with me. I don't know what it's doing. It says I got 8 new comments, but I don't know. Something else. Oh, think first, don't react, remain calm. Some of you just always think first and then react. Remain calm. Okay, Brian. I want you to experience what you're feeling. I know your phone is dying, but I don't want you to ignore what you're feeling by getting busy. That's another way. Can we before, as Brian is, his phone is dying. One of the ways that you suppress or hide or ignore what you're feeling is you get real busy. Real busy. And now you've taught your children how to be busy in order to hide emotions. And then they grow up and they repeat the same doggone cycles. And then you look at them later and go, well, why did they? And how did they? My husband is always, yes, it is so cliche, but it does work, Becca. As much as I resisted it for years, I resisted. The breathing. Do you know women breathe? We're shallow breathers by nature, especially when we're stressed. When's the last time you just... When's the last time you did that? And you did it for several minutes. I'm not talking about till you get lightheaded, because that will happen. I'm talking about, we do that, especially when we're stressed. When's the last time you were breathing? And I'm gonna tell y'all, I'm gonna make y'all laugh. Don't breathe too much and don't breathe too deeply, because you're gonna find yourself having gas. So you don't wanna do that either. So, see, I gotta make y'all laugh on here because this is intense stuff and this is intense work. When am I starting the next tour? Oh Lord, I'm supposed to be going to Africa in it should be 3 weeks from now, maybe almost 4. But the problem is they're having some xenophobia riots over there, and my husband is not comfortable until we make sure everything's in place. So that's kind of up in the air. And then I got a call from a young lady in Canada who was seeing my movements, and we will be in Toronto, Ontario, and there's one other place in March in Canada, right? So that's something that we will definitely be dealing with. Nydia says, I'm so lazy about all of it. I was meditating for more than a month and then I stopped. Yep. I know all the things I have to do, but I get lazy and procrastinate and end up living in my head. Girlfriend, I'm gonna give you some snaps on that. We all do that. That's called being human. Consistency is an issue, but consistency is key to your healing. Consistency is exactly what you need in order to get to the next place. And it's like what Becca said, this is all, I'm not telling you something you don't know. This is all common sense in many ways for a lot of us. I took a deep breath when you said it and laughed, and then she laughed out loud. Yeah, but it's common sense for a lot of us, but then some people it's not. Because you know what? The reason it's not common sense for them is because they didn't get this part of the development. And maybe they heard it, but they dismissed it as if it wasn't for them. And they didn't want to deal. They didn't want to deal, right? That's another thing. I don't want to deal with feeling that way. Becca said she did the breathing last week at therapy. And then he said, laugh out loud, I love this. I promise you, you're not going. Oh, you can't say that yet. We're still working out the details. Don't lock it off yet. Hold on. Trust me. We're working on some stuff. I'm trying to get news reports and I'm trying to see what's happening. My husband is already trying to cut me off from the experience of a lifetime. Africa for 3-4 weeks? And my business gets set up over there? Y'all better, I need y'all to pray. Let me see. It says, if you could not control, I wrote down here, if you could not control your anger and negative behavior, get help. Becca just said she did it in therapy last week. How many of you have a therapist? Put 1 in the box if you have a therapist. Put 2 in the box if it's a no. Lydia said, oh, how he gonna do you like that? Because that's how he be doing me. I do need, ooh, from your mouth. Yeah. To my reality. I need an executive assistant and I need a personal assistant. I've tried a few, and I have a young lady who she moved and got married and she was amazing. I miss her. See, Nydia and Becca have a therapist, and I'm not talking about someone you see every day, but if you need some help, and Nydia, I know you want to be my personal assistant by coming to Africa. I get it. But I'm only showing up with this is how I'm showing up. I'm showing up, and then there's going to be security and the people that I'm there to work with. You have me. Oh, don't even. Y'all better get him. How many of y'all know when you are married to somebody, you cannot be their therapist? Nydia said, I got leave days. You gonna help me with a broke shoulder? My husband can tell you my laptop, my briefcase is heavy. It's so heavy. It's ridiculous. So as much as I would like to do that. That's funny. I love it. Where are we? Yeah. So everyone who's chimed in, you have a therapist. For those of you who have not chimed in, I need for you to get a therapist. Go see them. When you're having a challenging time, she said, well, I came with you tonight. When you're having a challenging time, you just set up an appointment. One thing I love about the church I've been a part of for 13 years is they have a counseling center right there. It's free to the members, and I utilize that sucker. Andy is on speed dial. I don't even call anymore. I just send an email through my Gmail account straight to his assistant, to his secretary. I send it straight to her, and then I get a response in less than 24 hours, and I got an appointment. That's the fastest way I know. Get yourself a therapist. Get yourself a spiritual advisor. Get yourself an accountability partner, somebody who can help you navigate the head trash that you have. This is another good one. When you're wrong, accept it, ask for forgiveness, and move on. Even if you're partially right, own up to it and extend forgiveness. Let it go. There was a gentleman who was talking to me last week. I was at the farmer's market. I found a farmer's market here in Fort Lauderdale. I'm still navigating and learning my way around. And I'm at the farmer's market and I'm looking at different natural remedies to different things. My knee bothers me sometimes. And so I'm like, And it's because I'm not stretching. And I got to stretch. So my hamstring pulling on my knee and it's causing all these issues. So this guy was trying to give me some stuff and health remedies. And, he was like, you just need to work out, just by doing some cardio and make sure, you do intermittent fasting and you only eat, every 10 hours. And I was like, okay, that ain't gonna work. I already had my health assessment and they were like, you're not eating enough. And so your body's storing up the fat, plus you're stressed. So he kept going on and on and on about me eating big plates of food. My husband can tell you, I will eat salad 5-6 days out of the week. I eat salad with protein and certain things on it. I'm a pretty healthy eater. There are things that I eat every now and then that aren't as healthy, but I'm a pretty healthy eater. The problem is I'm not eating enough. But what I was doing was I was going back and forth with him a little bit. And as I walked away, the first thing I thought was, just let him be right and then move on. Let him be right, you be wrong. And you just move on. Because you know what? I would have had a better time. I would have had a better time in that moment versus going back and forth with him. It's very similar in that I'm telling you. Just be wrong. Say you're wrong, accept it, and ask for forgiveness. Because when you go back and forth with people all the time, they don't believe that you're honest about feeling like you're wrong. This is the other important factor. Realize that you are not the only one who's going through some changes or hardships. You're not the only one who's fatherless. You're not the only one who was abandoned by your mother, or your mother being a toxic mother. You're not the only one who has head trash. You're not the only one who is an angry little boy and now you're a raging grown man, or vice versa when it comes to being a woman. You're not the only one who has negative emotions that you mask, hide, or suppress. You're not the only one. And so you have to be okay with that and understand that it's a part of your journey, and there's something in it that you're supposed to learn. So in order to heal some of these negative emotions, I want to talk to you about loving yourself. Can I give you 6 things that you can do to love yourself? That's what I want to do tonight. 6 things that you can do to love yourself is, I want you to spend time looking yourself in the mirror and encouraging and building yourself up. That's what I want you to do. I want you to encourage and build yourself up. I want you to comfort yourself or find someone who will comfort you when you're hurting. And I ain't talking about the opposite sex, because that's a problem with fatherless individuals. Can we talk about intimacy and fatherlessness next week? That would be a good one, because there's no such thing sometimes. Yeah, we don't want nobody to see. So comfort when you are hurting. Find someone to comfort you. I know Brian was saying, Linda, that's his significant other. She wanted to comfort him, give him a hug, console him, tell him it's going to be all right, whatever that is. You need someone, when they're comforting you, they're not only just holding you, but they're speaking life over you. They're speaking a different perspective over you. You know, the Bible talks about how a husband sanctifies the wife by the washing of the word. You know how he washes her with the word? By speaking positivity, by speaking God's word over her life. And wives, you do the same for your husbands. Find positive quotes and scriptures and affirmations to help people navigate the challenges that they're experiencing. It will be a blessing. I doubt myself even when I know I'm right. Oh, Becca, girl, now that's a conversation for a Tuesday night healing, okay? Because we all do that. We doubt ourselves. We were taught to doubt ourselves. We had no one who affirmed us. I remember one time I was standing in my living room. This was probably like 2 years ago. And I'm standing in my living room, and this is when God is making me do positive affirmations. And I'm like, I don't want to do them. I think they're stupid. But I knew I needed to do it because I had all this head trash. And I'm digressing a little bit because I think this leads into the number 3. And so I was standing there in my living room praying, and I said, I am successful. This was just 2 years ago. I doubt myself. I doubt that I'm successful. Why? Because no one is validating that from a parental side. Honestly, yesterday was actually what year was it? The 12-year anniversary, or I guess that's what you say. Yeah, the 12-year anniversary of my father's passing. So my father did that very well for me. My mother, clearly not. And so standing in the living room saying, I am successful, I broke down. Because I realized when I said it, that was the first time I actually believed it. And then I heard my spirit say it again. Say it again. Because it takes time to remove the doubt that head trash has caused us to truly believe about ourselves. So number 3 is express approval and values. So I want you to find people to surround yourself with who express approval and that you're valuable. Who you surround yourself with tells me how much you love yourself. I was reading this article earlier today that Jada Pinkett Smith actually was interviewed. I don't remember who wrote it, but I definitely looked at it. And she said, the people around you and who you surround yourself with actually shows you or the rest of the world self-love and self-care. And I believe, Becca, we can talk about self-love and deal with the doubt that we have concerning ourselves, even when we know that we're right, even when we know that we're on the right path and we have the clear understanding. The other thing is, I want you to love yourself unconditionally. Yeah. I want you to love yourself unconditionally. Every mistake you make is just that. It's a mistake. It's a human error. It is not the end of the world. It doesn't mean that you're a mistake. It's just a mistake. So love yourself unconditionally. And it's easier to do that if you do what we talked about a moment ago. When you're wrong, admit you're wrong and ask for forgiveness. The other thing I want you to do is I want you to respect yourself. Don't put yourself in situations and circumstances where you have to degrade yourself and be disrespected. Not only by others, but by yourself. The only reason you put yourself in that, that predicament or situation in the first place is because you are disrespecting yourself. You think less of yourself, and that's a values issue as well. And then I want you to look at yourself in the mirror. And another thing I want you to do is I want you to tell yourself that I love you. I love you. And if you love you, you won't do things that are harmful to you. You won't do things that are harmful to you. You have to be very, very clear. I want to Google this really quickly. You have to be very clear that you love yourself, because when you love yourself, you won't do some of the harmful things that we do to ourselves. The scripture says, love thy neighbor, right? As you love thyself. And then some of us get upset when our neighbor's treating us like trash. Well, have you ever thought that maybe they don't love themselves, and how they're treating you is how they treat themselves? But you got to love yourself first in order to be able to love your neighbor the right way. The golden rule, right? Isn't that the golden rule? So that's where that all boils down to. Like, we've got to love ourselves out of these negative emotions, but it's going to take time. It takes all of the stuff like Nydia was saying and Becca was saying. These are things that I know. These are common sense things, but I procrastinate. I put them off. I don't do them when I know that I'm supposed to do them. I always do that. One of the prayers that my husband and I are praying every day, it was given to us by a church that we're visiting. And Becca said, triggered, I'm eye rolling from the inside. I can't with you today. One of the things he asked us to do concerning the prayers, pray it every day. And if you miss one day, don't miss two. That's what I'm going to ask you to do. If you miss one day in doing all the things you know to do, to bring yourself out of this place of negative emotions and being undeveloped in your emotions, I want you to, if you miss that day, just don't miss two. And if you miss two, just don't miss three. But three is your max, right? And then I'm going to come and spank your hand. No, I'm just kidding. Becca says, my therapist says to not ask why, and instead ask what makes me feel this way. Oh, good one. My husband might like you for that, Becca. I'm always asking why. Well, then, but why? I swear I try to do I love you to myself in the mirror, and I feel so goofy. You're going to feel goofy. You know why? Because you're not actually connecting with you, right? If you really look yourself in the eye and you really spend time looking in there, because they say the eye is the gateway to the soul. Have you ever looked and saw your soul? I can tell you, I know my eyes look different than they did a few years ago. There's some pain, there's some trauma going on. And I'm healing it just as much as I'm talking to you about healing things. Some of it's my fatherless stuff. Some of it's my marriage stuff. Some of it's my business stuff. Some of it's just life in general happening. And in the midst of that, I don't see the same person I used to see in my eyes. And so my fight now is to get that glimmer, that light, that bright-eyed person back that I remember a few years ago. That's what's super important to me. I know you feel goofy. And even, let's say you don't look yourself in the mirror, but you sit down and you're meditating, and you just put your hand over your heart and just say, I love you. Just put your hand over your heart. You don't have to look yourself in the mirror. I love you. That is a feeling that you can't replace that. I feel it even when I say it. I love you. I love you, Tori. And if I love me, then there's things I won't do to me. And if I won't do it, I for damn sure won't let somebody else do it. Right? So I hope I look, I see, this thing is moving a little slow for some reason. I can only see certain comments, but I see that there's more comments below. So I hope I covered a lot for you guys. I hope I gave you some information that you can use that has blessed you once again. And let me say this, my shirt is giving away something right here. Healing the negative emotions for the fatherless. Another way you can heal your emotions, you don't know my story, but maybe it's time for you to tell your story. That's part of expression, right? Telling your story. Oh, look, Tawana is on here. Tawana, I'm rocking your shirt tonight. I mentioned her earlier and she just popped on. Yeah, but another way you can heal your negative emotions is, you guys get me, look, I can tell there's some pulling, and sometimes I'm being pulled to share stuff that I would never share. But I'm sharing things with you because I think it's vitally important for me to be super transparent and genuine so that you know I'm here for you. But the other part is I'm sharing my story, and it's bringing healing to me. And it's bringing not only healing to me, but it's helping heal you. So one of the ways you heal the negative emotions of your fatherless journey is you begin to share your story. That's what you do. You begin to share your story. She said, we get it. We get you. And I'm telling you, there are times when Becca, I'm on here and I'm like, am I really about to say this? Yes, because it'll help you guys heal the places of hurt and pain and brokenness and underdeveloped areas in your life as well. So I'm going to get off of here so we can all get ourselves ready for bed or whatever the next phase of us or our journey is tonight. Hopefully I'll get to bed before 11-ish, right? That's my goal, because I got to get up in the middle of the night and begin to pray. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. It is Healing Tuesday. I love coming on here and talking with you guys. Let people know, share. And if you are watching this in replay, just put #replay so that I know that you've watched it. Tawana said, I love it. I love everything you stand for. Oh, thanks for sharing. Healing is necessary, Tawana. And look, Tawana was in, yes, Nydia, it's already been an hour. I love the fact that you're saying that, sweetie. I love that. Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's important to me that the people who are tuned in and engaged, that what I'm speaking to them is helping them, and it's something that they can't get enough of, right? That's what I want. I always want to be that. And I don't want it to be super scripted. I don't want it to be, overly processed. I want to just speak to you mostly from my heart. So I always take a few notes and allow it to kind of develop from there, especially from your comments and you engaging. That is more appreciative than you know. When you are engaging and you are sharing your stuff with me, it fuels me and it inspires me and it keeps me going, even in the conversation. I love great dialogue, and I never want to sit on here and just talk at you. I want to have a conversation with you, because even in your conversation, you're helping people heal as well. Even in the stuff that you type in and you're commenting on, other people are thinking the same thing. And maybe they won't comment. They'll just sit on the sidelines and watch it. I can tell you, I know people who watch these videos, and I only know they watched it not because they liked anything or they said they share or they type anything in the box. They'll call me and they begin to talk and, oh yeah, I saw that video. And I'm like, oh, you did. So just know people are watching, and they're not only watching me, but they get to read your comments, and your comments are just as healing as every word that I speak. So I want to let you know I'm Dr. Tori J., founder and CEO of the Fatherless Generation Foundation, and it is my life mission to help fatherless individuals heal from their fatherless journeys, the trauma of their fatherless journey. So I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday night. I'm still working on the Thursday segment. The people who I'm trying to get on, They don't want to get on during the day, which is better for me during the day, locking down my Thursday night. So let me try to get that time frame scheduled where I can get some of the resources that I have, like some of my therapists who do online things and coaches other than myself who are on here, private investigators when you're looking for your dad, or men you're looking for your children, attorneys who are going to come on here and talk to you about how to navigate the court system. We're going to do that on Thursday. But unfortunately for me, it looks like it's going to be Thursday night. So let me get that time squared away, and we'll work on that and getting that launched for you. And then I'm launching my podcast. So I'm going to be going to Atlanta. For those of you who are in Atlanta, I'm sure we'll stop and kind of see each other and hang out, because that's what I do when I go back. I call that home still. Husband, don't fight me. I still call it home. But I'm going to be shooting my podcast. It will be video and audio so that we can heal. And it's called I've Got Daddy Issues. That's one of my new brands. And we're going to talk about our daddy issues in a positive light. So you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy the rest of your week. I will see you next Tuesday night. All right. Bye-bye.